Hello, y'all. I am hoping and praying that your day is going well so far. So, this video is going to be about the tragedy that occurs in narcissism, right? And for many, a lot of these things that we hear and talk about, they're complicated issues. Okay, so let's talk about single parents, right? And how narcissism plays a certain role, right? And I have male and female subscribers. So there's no reason to get upset because I touch on a certain subject, right? And there's so much that goes on. So I'm just going to say it like this. There's this atmosphere of narcissism where everybody think they have the right to tell men and women who they should and shouldn't be with. Now, we can recommend. I don't recommend nobody, whether they be male or female, keep submitting in a toxic relationship where there's no good outcome. Even if the person is a narcissist or they're not a narcissist. Relationships and investing in toxic relationships. But there's this big attack, and this is where the narcissism comes in. There's this big attack on single moms, okay, especially single Black moms. There's this atmosphere, there's this attack, and a lot of the manosphere and the males that are involved, a lot of them don't necessarily have bad intentions. But when you keep putting out here that this group of people is bad, and then they never wonder why one Black woman every 5 to 5.5 hours is getting murdered in the United States. But see, a lot of the manosphere, they talk so bad about Black women, even though they come from one. We're not talking about no biracial men, and this is nothing against biracial people. We're talking about Black males that got a Black mama, okay? And they got nothing but toxic stuff to say about the women in their race, even though somebody that looked like or act like this woman raised they behind. A lot of them wasn't even raised by their fathers, y'all. So this is the thing with this narcissism, and this is a tragedy in narcissism. Listen to me very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. There's this tragedy in narcissism, the inability to look at the source of the problem. Now, if we go back to biblical standards, any holy book is going to tell you that that man is the leader and the provider. So see, I don't want to even talk about these single mothers. Let's talk about their daddies, the daddies of these kids, right? See, the manosphere, they don't want to talk about that. They want to put the attack totally on these single Black mothers. But she's only a single Black mother. Never forget this. These are not single Black moms. Very few of them are in situations where the father had passed away. Now, sometimes they're single mothers of any race because the children's father is dead. But these children's daddies usually are not dead, right? And so all we talk about and all we hear about, or they talk about, and all we hear about is these single Black mothers. But we don't want to talk about the children. Not the children, the men that brought the children here. So, see, that's where the tragedy of the narcissism comes in right there. Because we got to get to the root of the problem. There would not be single mothers if their fathers, the fathers of their children, stepped up. And half of the time, these fathers of these single black mothers, in many cases, they refuse to step up and do anything for their children. They just refuse to. Now, there is some cases where there's been, children where they're not allowed to see their dads and stuff. And there's situations like that. I get that. That's narcissism on the woman's side. When she actually has a child and the father really wants to be involved for real, and he's a good, decent man, not drug addicted, responsible, working, not toxic, not abusive. That's narcissism in that female if she doesn't allow that type of man to raise her child, even if they're not together. So at the end of the day, no matter what the reason is, the tragedy of this narcissism with this manosphere is they will not, and they will always steer you away from the problem. That's all they're going to be talking about that to the end of time. Single black women, don't date them. They got different baby daddies. But that problem will never be fixed if we do not focus on the foundation of the problem. We got to go back to male leaders, right? At least the black women, a lot of them have a lot of empathy. At least they taking care of the kids. But that's just the game. It's just going to continue to go on. We got to keep the attention off that narcissist. And in these situations, the narcissist is these men that's running around. A lot of these men that are narcissists, they will go meet a woman and go take care of somebody else's children and will refuse to take care of their own. A lot of them can't stay out of jail and prisons. Look at how many children have fathers that are in prisons. And some of their mothers are in prisons. A lot of these children have mothers that are in prison. And so, I just want y'all to wake up to this stuff. Like I said, I got male and female subscribers and viewers. And so we just got to start waking up to the tragedy of narcissism. And it's always going to be a tragedy because narcissism, you keep spinning on a Ferris wheel. You just on this wheel round and round. And it just keeps spinning. Nothing gets fixed. Because we can't never get to the root of the problem. And don't get me wrong. A lot of these females are so toxic. Many of these females, probably the baby daddies or the fathers of the children, probably in some cases, if they were good, empathetic men, they wish they could have been able to stay with their children's mother. I know there's good guys. There's good men in all races, right? There's good men. But that's all that's under attack. And see, this is the thing. This is what I'm going to suggest. People can't talk about something that the women or men do not keep themselves set up for this attack, right? So these females are exploiting themselves when they get on these shows, telling how many baby daddies they got. They would like a rich man. They want this, they want that. Back when I was raised, Let me tell you something about the women that I was around. A lot of times you didn't even know that the children had different fathers when I was raised. Sometimes you knew, sometimes you didn't. All you saw was that woman was married and 8 kids came out the house. It was her business how many daddies they had. Some of them had all the same daddy. However, it is very narcissistic to exploit yourself like that. I would never get on a show and say how many baby daddies I had, and this is the kind of man I need, and this is what he needs to do for me. Number one reason I wouldn't do it is because I can't make nobody do nothing for me. And I'm too busy doing videos, and I'm too busy in prayer. I'm too busy focused on helping the children that I have. Even adult children, you still got to support, mentor, and help these children, whether they be male or female. But do not forget this. When you be listening to the manosphere, and some of these ain't bad men. They're not always bad men. There's one brother. I am subscribed to him. I put a lot of his videos in my playlist. I do not necessarily agree and support his views on these Black women. Not all of his views, because the reason I don't is because to fix it, we got to start talking about what the male is doing. Because these women, they're single Black mothers because of what? And then let's prove this point. And as a disclaimer to the males that subscribe to me, I love y'all. It's not that I don't love you, but this is how you know there's something wrong. These same men, they go on and they date women of other races, right? And they take the same problem to the other race. So look at all the white women that have biracial children that are now single mothers, because in some of those cases, the relationship still failed because these toxic narcissists, these are toxic narcissists. These ain't just Black males. These are toxic narcissists. They go to a whole nother race, pump up another bunch of babies. They pump up a bunch of babies in those women. And then you see white women running around with their Black looking children, or children that are not completely white because they're mixed or biracial. So then this is what the tragedy of this narcissism is. This is what happens. I see it all the time in the state I'm in. We got so many biracial children. And their mothers, their white mothers, are in these grocery stores taking care of these Black babies that are by Black men. But see, the Black woman is the first woman that had to experience this epidemic. And for men, this is what you got to do. If you're in a situation where you're disconnected from your children and you're not taking care of your children in the way you would like, write out a plan. Figure out, first of all, try to figure this out. Where are the kids at? A lot of men don't even know the location of their kids. And it's not all the men's fault. Like I said, we got some good men, white and Black, that are denied seeing their children. And then in those cases, the narcissist females, that deny these good men of seeing the kids, actual good men. I'm not talking about no abusive, drugged out, woman beating, gang joining, belligerent, crazy man. I'm not talking about that nutcase. You know what I'm talking about. So it's just so sad because I just get so tired of it. Because once you know what the narcissism is about, and remember, narcissism is really about that blame shifting, that putting the blame on somebody else. And that's all they're doing when they talk about these black single mothers with these different baby daddies. They're just putting all the blame on the woman and taking it off those men. Like one video, I think the gentleman was saying she has 2 baby daddies. Okay, where are the 2 baby daddies? So what it shows for me is this woman is a bad picker. If it's the case where these 2 baby daddies are not providing for the children, what's the race of the baby daddies? See, we're going back to this cultural problem that's spreading everywhere because the men are having children everywhere by different races. So all of these black children are coming here, and at the end of the day, many of them end up with a single mother. Because the tragedy of the narcissism, it will continue to be a tragedy if we continue to not recognize the problem. In other nationalities, that's not how it goes down. The Chinese man is not sitting up in general as a culture blaming Chinese women for being single mothers. You won't see it anywhere else. Any other culture, when there's something going on with the woman, you will not see all that blame shifting. Because the tragedy of the narcissism is not there. And what happens is those cultures, they end up having better fathers in their culture. Because the first thing that's looked at is that man and what that man is doing. And you could put a comment if you want to look at it any other kind of way, or you agree or disagree or whatever. Just put a comment. I'll respond. Give me your opinion. And as a disclaimer, this video is not meant to be a racist attack. But just like we just recently had a 10-year-old little black boy killed his mother because he was woke up at 6 a.m. in the morning. And I posted that video under my playlist, When They Turned. And he killed his mother because he didn't get the Amazon video game or headset ordered in time. And he was woke up early, too early for him. And he went and got the keys and went in his mother's gun safe and took the gun and killed his own mother in cold blood. 10-year-old little black boy killed his black mother. But the thing is this genetic component that comes with this antisocial personality, you got to remember, they're not all narcissists, y'all. Sometimes they're more. And so this is the result that this single black mom got from this 10-year-old boy. If you understand what I'm saying. So far in any of the news coverages, they still ain't mentioned his daddy. Where's his daddy? Where is his daddy? That's the tragedy of the narcissism. His daddy might be alive, but his daddy still can't crawl out of the corner and say something. And his son, if this man is still alive, he's despicable for not coming out and saying something. And his 10-year-old black son has murdered his mother. It's already bad enough that he's narcissistic and he ain't raising him, because the boy is being dumped off by the mother, because all the problems that she was having with that 10-year-old little black boy, as a black mother, all of those issues that she was having, I'm quite sure that she might have would have been interested in contacting his father if he could have been found. And unfortunately, those are the only cases where we don't just blame the mother as a bad person, is when her own child murders her. Then even black men want to have compassion for her. But then narcissist black males don't have the compassion when they need to be keeping their kids. And black women, white women, whatever race you are, Spanish, Hawaiian, Asian, European, whatever race you are, African, stop getting on these shows, humiliating yourself, saying you need a man. And I'm going to tell you the number one reason to stop doing that. The Lord might not like it. If you have a higher belief system, I'm going to use an example here. All I need is the Most High. That's what I need. And whatever He want me to have. If a man comes with that, if kids come with that, if neighborhood support, if a job comes with that, oh well. But that's all I need is the Most High. That's it. That's the only thing that I have found that has ended in any sort of success on my worst days. That's the only reason I'm not sitting up in no crazy house, in no jail, in no prison, and I'm on this video. So think about this. When you go on these shows and you tell how many baby daddies you got and what these men ain't doing, and you saying what you need, that's the sin right there. And you don't see women of other cultures doing that. I ain't watched a video yet of a Korean or Chinese woman sitting on a platform saying she needs a man. She's not going to do that because she has one at home. You ever heard of this? Being desperate. That's a turnoff. Even to an empathetic person. If I met the man of my dreams tomorrow and he started crawling to my door like some kind of freaking dog on all fours, licking the ground like he ain't got no respect for himself, I don't want him. We got to stop acting desperate. Because the only thing we should be really desperate about is prayer time. And trying to clean your life up to the best of your ability. Getting your kids in order. I don't have time to sit on no show saying I need a man. And see, you got to ask yourself that. A lot of these narcissistic females, they should be more focused on those children. They should be coming on those shows asking about the community and emotional support that's available. They should be on there asking about mentors for their children. Contacting the police department. Yes, contact the police department, y'all, because they have a lot of good information on referrals to get you and your children, to get your children, should I say, good mentors in their life. Because you got to get rid of the tragedy of the narcissism. These males and these females need mentors. Especially the males, if the fathers are not going to be around. So, gentlemen, next time you watch a video and they talking about these single mothers and You see it. I want you to look at it different. And I also want you to notice this. You don't see no other race of man on a daily basis talking about the same race of women that gave birth to him, like a dog like that. And that's why so many black women are dating outside their race. They just sick of it. I can't stand to see it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing it. Because at the end of the day, when you're a mom, I understand this. I did not make my children by myself. And I'm not going to participate in the tragedy of narcissism and support what that toxic man does, or men does, when it comes to not taking care of their children. They're just not interested. And they will continue to sit on videos and blame it on the woman. And then another thing, at the end of the day, I can do videos all day long, but it's up to you who you want to get with. I don't care what I talk about. I could recommend you not get in these toxic, narcissistic relationships. But at the end of the day, what happened to picking people based on love? But see, you can't just do that no more, because you got so many female narcissists that at the end of the day, they just concerned about using men and taking advantage of men. That's all. But remember, the tragedy of narcissism is blame shifting. It's blame shifting, y'all. Putting that true responsibility and who's really truly responsible, putting it all on somebody else. Let's just put it all on the woman. Let's just put it all on her. Let's blame the kids. They ran Papa off too. They ran Grandpa off too. Let's just put it all on somebody else. And like I said, that's the tragedy of narcissism. And I call it a tragedy. You know why? Because children consistently suffer because of it. The mothers consistently suffer. And so do the fathers. The fathers are suffering because walking around with a smile on your face, knowing that you could send your child $25 a month, it's just evil. Knowing that he could send his child some diapers and refuses to. That's just not right. But it's just always, as long as narcissists exist, and as long as narcissistic people exist, they always gonna get on videos and just blame the woman. That's it. And we always gonna have narcissistic females that get on these platforms saying they need a man, instead of saying what they really need. What they really need is a prayer. That's what you need, is a prayer. That's truly how I feel. And these are my thoughts. Men and women, no matter what race you are, I love y'all, okay? But I do like to talk about complicated issues. I mean, you got to remember, on this channel, I get a chance to vent and express how I feel too. It bothers me because I know what blame shifting is. And it just bothers me when all that blame is just put on these women. And ultimately, the blame gets put on the child too. Like this 10-year-old boy that just murdered his mother. He's being charged as an adult. So now we putting all the blame on the child. That's blame shifting too. They not mentioning his daddy. Why don't they go charge his daddy if his daddy is alive? I don't know if the boy's daddy is alive. But it didn't surprise me that his daddy's not mentioned. Because he's a black child. His daddy ain't mentioned. We don't know if his daddy is dead or alive. Because in a case like that, if the daddy refused to take care of the boy, and participate in his life. You think he gonna participate in his child's life since he gonna be going to juvenile and adult prisons? No, he don't care nothing about the boy. So he didn't care nothing about the boy. And so the 10-year-old boy did not care nothing about his mother. That's a black woman. See the pattern here? Teaching children not to care, that begins with that parent that drops out of their life when they newborn. Basically, that's how it happens most of the time in a lot of cases. The child 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. And this dad has already decided not to take care of the child. And this curse, this demonic curse, this tragedy of narcissism is spilling out in other races now. Other races are being subjected to the same type of trauma. And that's because the drug epidemic has never went away. So there's going to continue to be children of all races that just don't have their fathers or their mothers. And that's just what I have to say. Those are my thoughts. As a disclaimer, this message was not to offend anyone. However, now you're going to be aware. And next time you see this manosphere speaking, you just get used to hearing it. Maybe now you can look at it from a different perspective. If that makes sense, you could look at it from a different point of view. Okay, y'all? So again, I love you so much. Let's all work, no matter what our ethnic background is, let's work together more to take care of these children, no matter what race they are. Because at the end of the day, I don't want no child to not have their father. I just don't. It's not good. It's better if the child can have a father, if they have a good father. However, whether you have your mother or father in your life, with the support of the Most High, you can conquer that demon. You don't have to turn out to be a bad person just because your mother or your father was not in your life every day. You still can do your best to be successful. But that only can be done through respect of the Most High. You gotta look outside of these demonic, narcissistic parents that put themselves first and over the kids. And we got so many fathers that also are participating and not letting good moms that would be interested in being around their children. It happens in divorces. That goes on and on. And then those children, those females and males grow up and they have internal issues with the soul because their father denied them of being around their mother. All of it's unhealthy at the end of the day, and we need to do better. Again, I love y'all so much. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tune in for more because I'm going to be covering so much more. At a minimum, I have at least 500 video ideas, y'all. And I can't get them all in one day. I just can't. And this entire time, y'all, I have been on this exercise bike. It's daytime. I'm on the West Coast right now, even though I was not originally born and raised in the West Coast. Y'all can hear my accent. You know that I'm not fully from the West Coast. You can tell. So anyway, I love y'all so much. And I don't care how long I stay on the West Coast. My home and my soul and my heart will always be St. Louis, Missouri. It just will be, y'all. I love y'all so much. And remember, originally, I'm from where? I'm from the Show Me State. So show me, and we need to show each other and show everyone that we can do better together. No matter what your race is. And again, let's work harder. If you're a black man or any other race man, white, Spanish man, reach out to your children today. Because this is one thing I've learned, y'all. You can't change the past. Don't keep staying away from your children because you stayed away from them the first 10 years of their life. It's never too late to come into a child's life and to do right by them. And I'm going to tell you why. Your children may have their own children. So guess what? Yeah, you wasn't around your children. Make it up to the grandchildren. You can make it up. You don't have to keep shying away. We don't have to keep going on with the same pattern. Let's fix it, y'all. And my prayer for you is that you have some children and grandchildren that reciprocate and welcome your love, because that's what it's about too. A lot of children are not going to welcome your love. They're just not. That's why I'm on this video. I'm bringing that knowledge here right now. So you got to reach out for who is going to accept the love. And in my case, it may be a subscriber. It may not be one of my children. It just won't, y'all. That's not how life works. Because remember the tragedy of narcissism. It can't work that way. That's why we have good and evil. It just can't. So anyway, I'm going to keep going on this bike, y'all. I'm loving today, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for everything. What I get accepted for and what I get denied for. I'm so grateful. And I appreciate y'all so much. Let's get it together for the kids, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And let's get off this narcissistic attack of these women with these kids. Let's figure out how we can help these women with these kids. Because their daddy's out there helping themselves, right? Okay, and let's stop this blame shifting, because we know that that is definitely narcissism. And that's how the narcissism keeps going. We got to keep blame shifting, because these other narcissistic men are defending this abuse. A lot of them don't recognize it as abuse. They just don't. They got to learn too. Okay? So anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. And I love y'all so much.